Hello, and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coached, and I am joined by my playing partner, Mr. Andrew Hansen, and we are here to discuss this week's PGA event, the 3M Open at Twin Cities TPC. So are you ready? Have you recovered from the Open, and are you ready to move to the next one, Andrew?
I am. Yeah. I feel like we've been on that trip with these guys from Sandwich, England, across the pond. And now we have to get right back up and play 72 more. And a lot of fun watching that Open.
It was.
Got to watch wall-to-wall coverage. Terrific drama. Colin Morikawa, what a show he put on the weekend. Just incredible. He made every single putt on Sunday. So clutch. And that was a little frustrating. I mean, I really enjoyed watching it because I love his game. But, most of my lineups had Louis and Jordan Spieth. And so, they cashed, but it could have been a lot sweeter if they'd finished 1-2 instead of 2-3.
No doubt.
And it's kind of interesting to see how some of these guys are going to play this week, like Louis, who after that tough defeat, you would think maybe he would take a week off, but he's in the field. Sort of the guy that finished highest. He's ready to tee it up again.
Yeah, I was shocked. I could not believe he was in the field, to be honest with you, especially, being he's from Europe, he's over there, he's I don't know if it's a push for the whole Ryder Cup scenario here. Everybody's trying to get points on whatever tour, there's a lot of stuff that happens because of that, so it could be that too.
You've got the guys who are going after just the regular FedEx Cup points and standings because we know the season's winding down. And then, of course, we've got guys jockeying for position on the respective Ryder Cup teams, and we can talk about a couple of those guys here. But I think those are two of the big influences we want to look at this week. Guys who played well in the Open and have a lot of confidence, and then guys who are really pushing hard for their rankings for the Ryder Cup teams. And I think that can give just a bit of an edge to some of these guys.
No question. And in my preparation, I focused on, this is only the third year for this tournament and on this course. So, that makes a big difference too.
Yes.
So that's a good thing. We can look at both sides of it because I've looked at really, who's played here well the last 2 years, because that certainly makes a big difference. And it's a really interesting course. There's a lot of trouble, water, sand. It's certainly no cup of tea. And it plays pretty long at 74-31 for only a par 71, and definitely trouble. So it's going to take, a bit of a little bit more length maybe than even last week, but you're still going to have some trouble, not quite as much in some of the areas, but I don't expect this course to play super easy for them either.
Yeah, it is pretty long for par 71, no doubt about it. And I agree. The guys, it's only 2 years of history, but I'd much rather have a guy here who's at least played it well. So I'm glad you focused on that. I took a look at that as well, and that's certainly going to be key.
There's no doubt. And this, by the way, you can tell by the name Twin Cities TPC. It's right there between Minneapolis, St. Paul, but it's actually in Blaine, Minnesota. So I always look that stuff up when I'm digging into the weather to see if we're going to have any effects there. But it looks like they're going to get 4 decent days. Maybe a tiny shower here or there, but it should be perfect playing conditions throughout the entire week. So that will be great. And the cut this week is top 68 and ties. So, we had a discussion about that last week because there were a few differences in some of the events and how they run and if there's a secondary cut. But this one is the old regular deal. We just got to get our guys through that one cut that's made after Friday's round, be in that 68 or better group, and then we're good to go. So as we always know, that's good. And we did well with that last week. I had both of my lineups were 5 of 6, which isn't, hitting the home run, but it is certainly better. It gives you a fighting chance through the weekend, without question. And the thing that's tough is we talked about it right on this podcast, and certainly afterwards as well, is we both loved Morikawa. It's just he hadn't shown the propensity to be consistent on the greens this season. So what a place to find, the hot putter, bang, just like that,
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about how in the Scottish Open he tried 3 different putting grips during his round. He finished 70th or 71st.
Yeah.
And then he changed his 7, 8, 9 iron before the Open. And so that's the challenging thing about PGA DFS is you don't know every swing change that's made, every club change, every grip change, let alone guy just finds something on the range on Thursday morning. The other thing was the weather flipped a little bit, and the morning wave ended up having a little bit better weather forecast, and Morikawa was in the afternoon Thursday, and he's really the only guy in that wave who finished really high. It was mostly guys from the morning, so everything was stacked up against him, and he made the perfect adjustments at the right time. And he said himself, if he had not played that Scottish Open and gone through that struggle, he wouldn't have won at the Open. His first trip to the Open, just phenomenal.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was fun. Well, this week, we're going to figure out who's going to smoke this course and get it done.
Yes, sir.
We've got odds too. And I'll flip it a little bit. We generally do the odds towards the end and then talk about our players. But I'm going to flip it because I think the question this week when you're building your lineups is chalk or no chalk really is the question. Because in trying to build some lineups here, if I wanted to go up to the guys that you had mentioned, they're playing for Ryder Cup points. They're, trying to get up there on the FedEx Cup standings. You go that route with like even 2 of these guys, then you're filling out some value plays big time. But, and that's why I want to read the odds. There are some guys in the mid odds range that their pricing is better, where you really can do a medium build here and make it very, very comfortable. So I'll start off here, just go over the first grouping, and if you want to share sort of your thoughts, because one of these guys is going to be on most people's lineups. But DJ chalk at 7.5 to 1. What do you think about him? We have been avoiding him like the plague, but man, this is certainly not the type of field he's had to face recently, and dangerous.
He is dangerous, and he showed glimpses at the Open, but then, couldn't quite put it together over the weekend. And interesting history for him here to have played here once, but he withdrew after a bad first round, apparent back injury.
Yeah.
So, he's seen the course, but didn't have success here. At those odds and at his price in DFS, I'm probably not going to go there.
Yeah. No, I'm initially fading as well, but again, that always looms, and we talk about it all the time. And he could just smash the field and go wire to wire. That's the danger of fading him. But it happens. Now, Tony Finau, I know that's one of your favorite dudes. He's second choice, 14 to 1. Again, my beef with him. I don't see him finishing ever.
Right.
And I need him to prove me wrong, but
none of us do.
I know. I mean, the thing is, though, as far as feeling good about a guy making a cut, you can't feel a lot better than Finau here in this type of situation.
He always makes cuts, and he's a guy who I love with his course history here. Top 5 last year.
I know.
23rd the year before. So
yeah,
he likes this event. He comes back. He does well. And, he had a nice, strong finish at the Open.
He did.
And he's also 12th in the Ryder Cup standings for the U.S. So he's on the bubble.
Yeah.
He's not one of the top 6 automatic qualifiers. So he has a lot to play for. A lot of things are lining up for me for Finau. Yeah, I don't have confidence that he's actually going to win, but great odds that I think he can be a top 5 guy again.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but he checks all the boxes, I think, more than anybody else on this entire slate for me, and for several of the reasons, including a strong third place finish last year and getting to be on the course now for a third time. So yeah, I mean, he's going to be a tempting one. I don't think I'd bet him to win at those odds, as far as if you're playing any side bets at our partner BetUS.com.pa, who is providing these stats. But yeah, certainly a lot stronger of a DFS play for me than a side bet winner.
Agreed.
Louis Oosthuizen, the mystery man here, 16-1, third choice, playing great golf. What lag's going to be there coming off that pressure pack, open for him? I don't know what to think here. Is he just playing great golf? Yeah, he's playing great golf, but I don't know. Can he be focused enough to dive right back in here? That's my concern.
Mine too. And it's funny, I did hear an interview with him this week, and he admitted that he didn't say it's going to be a letdown, but in so many words, that's really what he said, that it's a major challenge to get up for this event since it's not a major. And
Right.
he just went through what he went through. He said, he makes it a point, like many players, to gear everything towards the majors. He takes the week off ahead of time so he can get there early, play extra practice rounds at the event, make sure everything's razor sharp. And he's done a phenomenal job of peaking at the majors recently, especially this year.
Right.
And so it's the prototypical psychological challenge here of, now you go to a regular PGA Tour event, and he was asked, can you get up for this event? Can you take that same mentality to a regular PGA Tour event? And he said, I'd like to, but it's basically impossible. He said the only guy who could really do that was Tiger Woods.
That's a good point.
Everybody tries to match that, but it's just tough. So that's what he knows, that's what he's battling. And I do think that's a tough thing to overcome. But on the other hand, he can't really feel any pressure at this event. He might just kind of be a robot and keep playing his tremendous ball striking that he's been showing, and putting, and be right there again on Sunday. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me either way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll get anything in between. That's the tough part. I mean, he may be right in contention to win it or miss the cut. That's, again, a lot of variance this week. It's not an easy slate. But the fourth guy, because these four I wanted to go over individually, because they're definitely the four favorites, and then there's a big drop off after that, and that's certainly a dangerous Patrick Reed at 18-1.
He is dangerous. And he's got the mixture of great course history here, 23rd in 19. He's pushing hard for the Ryder Cup. He's 8th on that list, but he just missed the cut. Yeah. So he's not razor sharp. So I right now I lean towards Finau over him because of the recent form. But like you said, that's a perfect word for him. He's dangerous.
He is. And, he's all about the Ryder Cup. So if he's trying to get that automatic spot, man, this is a great opportunity to jump a bunch of points. So we'll see. It's a tough call. All right, let me give you this rest of this group, because this is where we could see some real interesting plays. And everybody in this group is 28-1 to 35-1, and there's 7-8 of them. So I'll mention them, and then if you want to pull out a few guys specifically, then feel free. So I won't go again. It's 28 to 35-1. So you have Matthew Wolff, Robert McIntyre, Cameron Tringale, I can't say it. Grillo.
Emiliano Grillo.
I'll just say Grillo.
Yeah.
Sergio Garcia, Hank
Lebioda.
I always have trouble with him too. I don't know why. Bubba Watson, Keegan Bradley, and Maverick McNeely. So that's that whole group there. And just does anybody dive out of you from that group that you may be able to get at a decent price? Their odds are pretty good, and they may be a strong play.
Yeah, that's quite a group. I think there is a lot of it's almost like um, moving day on Saturday or something. That group, I think it's if you score right in that group, you're in a great spot. And I think the two favorite names for me out of that group, Emiliano Grillo and Robert McIntyre, based on their great performance at the Open.
Right.
McIntyre, up and coming younger player, to do that well on that big of a stage, it's tremendous for his confidence. And then Grillo, same thing. He's been around a little bit more, but awesome finish for him. And then you look at what he did here last year. He was tied with Finau in the top 5.
Yeah, they tied 3-4. So yeah, I mean that's a big plus for him. For him, no question about it.
Yeah,
and he's coming in hot. So
yeah, I like getting a couple of those guys in that price range, so you feel really solid about the middle of your lineup. And then Lebioda as well. I mean, can you get any hotter really for a mid-tier guy? His last 3 events in the PGA Tour are tied for 5th, tied for 4th, tied for 8th.
That's nuts. For sure. I mean, he made my team this last week, and he was right there the whole time.
Yeah, that last event he played that we covered, you were on him, and
yeah,
he also has a tie for 34th here, and he's a good price on DraftKings. He's only 7,900, which is
mispriced to me. I
Yep.
mean, with those 3 performances to be in the 7,000 range, that's nuts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's even though I can't say his name, Lebioda, I can't say it, but he's one of the guys that stands out for me. I'm with you on McIntyre too. He's just playing golf, man.
Yep.
That guy's good. He's just flat out good. And I agree with you on Grillo. Those are the 3 guys out of this group. I never trust Wolf. I just can't ever trust him. But do you know he is the champion from 2 years ago here?
That's right. This is where he got his win.
Yeah. How do you not count that into the mix? Because we know he can go low.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he's got a win here, wow. I mean, that becomes extremely tempting too. So I do like this group. I could have 2 or 3 guys out of this group, believe it or not.
Agreed. And I think Wolf he'll have that cap on that we've been talking about. It says GPP right across the front of it.
You better believe it. GPP or make you cry on your cash lineups, one or the other. That's for sure. All right. Well, I just wanted to go over those main guys. I mean, this is a week where, because it's so wide open, they have so many guys in that 50 to 60 to 1 range. Just, it's weird because, it's a little bit lesser of a field. So with the opportunity for a lot of these guys to jump up and win it, you don't see those 150 and 200 to 1 odds like we were getting on some good players, believe it or not, in the Open. You've got, the guys even under 100 to 1 are the guys like Shank and, Warinsky, Poston, guys like that. So this is not an easy event by any stretch to handicap, but if all you can do is go over those factors of the 4 or 5 different things that fit into, does this make sense? And just look for the guys like Finau that check most of those boxes. And I think, that gives them the best shot at it. So interesting.
Yeah. And, we've got a couple other veterans to mention here, especially with the Ryder Cup standings. And here's something that really surprised me, Coach, with some of these guys, where they're ranked on the U.S. Ryder Cup standings. Bubba Watson's 31st, Keegan Bradley 33rd, and Ricky Fowler is 40th.
Wow.
So these are guys who have to be thinking, I need to pick up a win or 2 here to get back on the radar of Coach Stricker's, perspective. And I kind of like the situation for Ricky and Bubba. Ricky, we know that he's making a comeback here. He finished awesome at the Open. He had a Sunday 65.
I know it.
He's a reasonable price tag. Bubba didn't go to the Open, but coming off a tie for 6th in Detroit, and so he's got the extra week of rest. He didn't have to do all the travel.
And I've heard rumblings he could be a captain's pick kind of guy because he does have a lot of experience.
Yep.
And his game really plays on the course they're going to. So, man, a top 5 finish here would go a long way to help him maybe get that captain spot.
Absolutely. And Stricker is playing in this event, so he's going to be watching closely, and
Yeah.
that's going to make a strong impact on him to be out there with Bubba competing, and to see him get that top 5 if he does get it, whether it's Bubba or Ricky. All these guys are trying to make that impression.
Right.
And then I do want to mention, just for fun, because folks probably weren't paying much attention to the Barbasol, but our old man James Hahn, one of our favorites, he shot a 60 in that event, tied for
That's
5th.
nuts.
And so there's a few guys from the Barbasol I think you can also look at who are coming in hot. He's cheap, 7,100. But I also want to mention Seamus Power, who won the event. Of course, we don't cover it, and our man Seamus gets the W.
It's crazy.
And James
We've been
Hahn
playing him forever. Both of those guys.
Yeah, yeah.
I was so mad when I saw that because I really wasn't paying attention to it during.
Right.
You watch 10 hours of the British Open every day.
Exactly.
But then when you look at it and you think, oh my God, those guys, now they do it.
I know. If we played that event. Yeah.
Crazy.
But yeah, so interesting, really interesting mix here with these different angles coming into this event with the Ryder Cup, guys who played the Open, guys who played over here at the Barbasol. So yeah, let's keep building towards some final lineups here today. We're going to fill out the full coaches clipboard on DraftKings to get folks ready for that. And then of course we give out the full lineups on Fanduel and Yahoo for golf, the full tournament here Wednesday lineups, and then Friday lineups for the weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, we always talk about that. If you're a PGA person and you're checking out the podcast, Wednesday's the best day if you want to do the 3-day pass, because you get all of our golf lineups, both for the full tournament and for the weekend. And with NBA just ending, and that was really an exciting game, boy, I'll tell you what, we're shifting gears a little bit, a lot of golf still, tons of baseball. I mean, it's amazing how many baseball games they play. It's mind-boggling. So we got all that going. Then we have some Olympic basketball coming up. I mean, it's a great time to jump in, and before you know it, we're going to be hitting the stride with football. So if you want to join us, it's dfscoachtalk.com, all kinds of different packages. Again, if you're listening to this, I would assume you're a golf person, and certainly Wednesday is the great day to get in. And we've been hot. We've really done well on our weekend only lineup specifically. Now we're trying for the full sweep of tournament and weekend only. So again, some great values. If you're going to be betting on some baseball, or now you're shifting, it's amazing how much you can bet on the Olympics. I mean, I was shocked when I saw the betting board at betus.com.pa. But we are offering still, if you sign up at BetUS, and you deposit $149, use the promo code Coach Talk, all one word. It's rolling across the bottom of your screen, and you get a free 2-month membership with Coach Talk if it's your first deposit at BetUS. So certainly take advantage of that, and we'd love to have. We've had a bunch of new members. We're having a blast. We're doing a weekly meeting, really talking over really the strategies. I mean, this is a good time with baseball because you get a lot of baseball. And for those that are basketball and football people, it's a good time to regroup and look at, contest selection, bankroll management. How am I going to approach this? Because you have to have a plan with DFS. We were just talking about that a little bit this morning in our Discord is, you can sign up places and get lineups or get, that service of, we're providing some information, but we look at the whole package here at Coach Talk, and that's what we're most proud of. We're really trying to coach a process so that you can have sustainable winning in DFS long-term. And that's the goal here. So join us. Again, once you join, you get everything that we have. It's not that you're just signing up for golf and you get golf. You'll get all of the stuff coming up with baseball and Olympic basketball and NBA Summer League, you name it, and it's all going to be there for you. So we'd love to have you. The last thing I want to mention before you do some of your breakout of some of the statistics is just a double mention. We mentioned some of these guys already, but last year, the top 4 finishers are all back, and that's Thompson, who we haven't mentioned yet. So I'd love to get your take on him. Long, who I've had some success with playing in these events when the field's not as tough. And then we've been talking about Finau and Grillo the whole time. So those, that means a lot. And the year before, the top 3 players, the aforementioned Matthew Wolff, the GPP man, and then Hadwin and Clark, they were 2nd and 3rd in the inaugural event 2 years ago. So wanted to give a little, shout out to that small group because, again, we're looking goal 1, get 6 guys or 5, depending on which site you're playing, get them through the cut. And, it's hard to think a guy's not going to make the cut with a first or a T2,
Yeah, exactly. And so this one, I'm a little more torn on these guys than I usually would be with that excellent course history. And it's just because of the recent form.
I know.
You look at Thompson, he did make the cut at the John Deere, but finished 41st, but he hasn't been playing that well. Long missed the cut at the Open last week. Hadwin has missed 3 cuts in a row, and so has Wyndham Clark.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't have you jump out of your seat, but
there's
course
the but.
history means something, right?
Right. So they get a major bump up compared to any other player who's missed 3 cuts in a row. So, I agree with you. They're worth looking at, and they're all very reasonably priced.
I know.
So I wouldn't mind taking a shot on one of them.
Yeah, I mean, just for the value factor there,
Exactly.
So what do you have? What do you want to hit on stats wise?
I think we've pretty much covered it here, because there's such a short course history here in terms of only 2 events.
Right.
Just looking at the finishes that these guys have had and making sure they've played there at least once. The only other thing I'll mention here I'll give off one value play, which comes from that same metric. It's Fabian Gomez. He finished tied for 13th here in 2019. He's only 6,200.
Wow.
And he did have a nice finish at the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit a couple weeks back. So you get a guy at 6,200 who's, finished in the top 15 at a course like this.
Right.
I like, he's going to be on the clipboard for sure as an option.
Let me ask you this too. Who do you think is going to go the chalk here? Is it going to be DJ even at that big price, or do you think somebody will dip down? Finau, Reed. I mean, I know those guys will all have decent ownership, but who do you think the real chalk's going to be? Because I'll tell you, DJ has not been the chalk for quite some time.
It's a great question. I think it's going to be pretty balanced with that group of 4.
Okay.
Just because, DJ best overall player long term, but inconsistent recently. Louis, the best this year, and but he's the sort of the least popular of that group of who you want to play.
Right.
Or historically, what ownership do people go to? I mean, obviously, in a vacuum, you just say like next year there's an event with these 4. Who's going to get the most ownership? I think it's going to be DJ.
Right.
And then Finau and Reed a little bit cheaper, and more popular Americans. So, Finau obviously gets the edge for me, but then Reed's a little bit cheaper. So I think it'll be pretty balanced. I think Reed probably would get the least ownership out of that group of 4.
Right.
What do you think?
I agree with you. I think it's going to be, pretty balanced with those top guys. I do think maybe because there's so much value in that middle group, you can spend 1,000 more, 1,000 less, and feel it pretty much exactly the same with the guy that you're playing. So there is enough value that I think people feel safe with DJ, and if he hits, they think he's going to win it. So I think he gets a slight edge there. But for me, what I'm probably going to do, instead of going with, which I think will be the popular thing, you watched a lot of people have 2 of those 4 guys and then fill in with the rest. Because again, there's a lot of value. But I'm probably just going to go with 1, and I'm leaning towards Finau right now. And then instead of going all the way down for the last guy or 2, I think that mid build that I had mentioned earlier, that group of like 10, you can actually get like 3 of them and then not still have to finish, with really low price guys. So it's going to be a 1 pay up for me and then somewhat of a medium build. So I'm going to go a little bit different this week.
Yeah, I like that a lot, especially on DraftKings. You can always get one more stud in on FanDuel with the softer pricing over there. But yeah, I'm with you on DraftKings.
And if Finau has a breakdown Sunday again for me, I am going to, you'll see the thing with me hitting my head against the door, that Bitmoji.
Yeah. Well, if we have him, as long as it's only a collapse down to 3rd place.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Right.
But you never know with him. That's the tough part. So, but it should be a great one. I think in the fact that, there's going to be a lot of money to be made, great cash lineup opportunities, with the variance. I mean, you're not going to see duped lineups very much in this group. That's for sure. So should be fun, but excellent. Any other final words on your side of the ledger here?
That's it. Thanks a lot for jumping in, everybody, and good luck with the lineups this week.
Absolutely. And I got Dirk and friends back from PA, visiting some wonderful family up there. It's always great to go home. So back in Dallas and ready to hit it. I actually hit the course myself, Andrew. How about that?
Yeah.
Played 18 against my buddy and I from years ago against my brother. Of course, your brother's always your bitter enemy. Talking smack the whole time. It was a blast. But now I've really got you know how golf is. I had 1 birdie, and that's all I can remember. And I just I'm ready to play right now.
That's it. It's so fun to get out there. You get the taste.
The golf juices are burning, and so I'm going to take it right into this 3M Open and try to make some noise there. So
let's do it.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We'll certainly be back every week. PGA just goes and goes. There's no end, and we've got some really exciting stuff coming up as everybody tries to make the Ryder Cup and as the FedEx title starts to wind down. So great bunch of weeks coming up. And how about if we started off with a gigantic winning one here this week? So please join us again. We'll be here every Wednesday. We'll be posted. And if you join us here this afternoon after you listen to the podcast, you'll have plenty of time. We're posting our full tournament lineups at 8 p.m. Eastern this evening. So appreciate everybody joining us, and join us again for PGA Weekly DFS next week, when we again look to crush it in PGA DFS.